Welcome back to round 5 of the UK Regionals. This feature match we've got Mastemon versus Imperial. Two starter decks battling it out. Few spicy techs on the side of the Imperial player. We got Positron Laser in there. We've got one Madoki you can fit in. Got one Chimeramon as well. So fair few one-offs in this deck. One Magna for the mirror, one Lydramon. We've got one Dino Bee as well, so fair few one-offs. And then on the Mastemon side, we've got the one Creepy Mon, big fan. Got Defeat. We've got the one Call-in for Recursion, I like that as well. It gets grindy against yellow, I think it's pretty important to play Call-in that deck. So we're going to see who's going first here. I believe the judge is just giving him some instructions. So, yeah, I think security is pretty important in this matchup. Mastemon's got some good security options. We've got Chaos Degradation, Hell Scythe. No Dead or Alive, I don't think. Nope. So you're going to get those Hell Scythes early and we've got targets for them. Should be in an okay spot. We do have that one Black Gammon for rush if we need to end the game potentially. See a very champion focused list. We've got Tapirmons as the rookie, so we're not looking to evolve that much. Mostly swinging and get those Demi-Mirror procs. One BT6 Ogremon to clear some champs as well, so we'll see if that comes up at all. Right, about to get going, I think. Let's see who's starting. Looks like I think the judge is going over a few more things with them. Alright, here we go. Maste's going first. Gonna hatch a Niaromon. It's a one of Niaromon, so a bit unfortunate that one. Good Psychmon. And Wizardmon for 2. Might be vanilla, but I do like Wizardmon because it lets you, you can play a Hell Scythe without having to set up with Tamers and such first, so it's not bad. Definitely not bad. We're going to see a Blue Man Bruce. No rookie on the Imperial side at the start, so a bit rough. Just going to grab that rookie. Some good cards put to the bottom though. Stigmon, XV, and Imperial. See if he's not missing those by later on in the game. We'll see. Second Hell Scythe drawn on. Could see a swing. The Aramon effect. Yeah, wrong order. Draw one, trash one. Trash is a creepy mon. Yep, not too important in this matchup. Mostly yellow things. So you're gonna hit Madoki. I'm just gonna hard drop a Gata for 5. I think the brick in the Imperial's started a bit slow, so I think we can afford to do that. He might take the candle because he's got no other rookies, but it looks like he's just going for a Magna instead. It's too important with the Jogos plays for this deck. You do see a Mimi instead of Davis, so that lacking consistency we are seeing here. We'll see if the power Mimi does make up for that later on in the game. But if he had Davis turn 1, it might have been in a better spot here than the Mimi. Gonna go Magna and Raisin. Never a good sign. You want that a lot of the time for the restand and go over some big bodies, but might just drop this Mimi. Go to 3, and the next turn he can do some Jogos plays potentially. It's a bit scary against the Mastemon though, because if they've got the full stack with the Lucemon, that Tamer will just get destroyed before you can use its effect. But it will you'll certainly get enough memory to be able to still make your plays regardless. So see if got Lady Devi in the hand of with no Lady Devi, so we should see a Magna for one, and he's just drawn last painful one. He's drawn the Lady Devi. Not the worst though. Still got the Ophanimon. Certainly unfortunate order of those draws, because if he had the Mastemon said the Fanny, he could have Jogressed end of turn with the Gatamon effect. So we'll see if that matters at all. Magna can come out at 7k, so you could swing here if you wanted to. Potentially, if he's got 7 or less cards, you can get a draw off that Vmon. It's fairly likely. It's not that likely to live, but it lives Hellscythe and everything that's not a level Lucamon or Lady Devi plus the level 6s. So you could go for it if you need that extra draw, but he's probably going to play the safe. I'd imagine he plays the safe game. Hand doesn't look too good. It looks like it's just going to go Pyojimon, go to 0. Can use Mimi now, so he can get Cycling. Opts to not use Mimi. Perhaps he doesn't. He does have another rookie, so interesting decision as to why he did that. But I guess he might want to save the Vmon for a search potentially. Can go. He has got fighter mode now, so we do see a degradation in the hand of Joe. Could choose to play that and just deal with that fighter mode instantly before any damage can come out of it. Probably the safe play. You can swing with the Ophanimon first. It's 14k, so it dodges fighter mode as well. So do hit with Vmon here. Yeah, we do see the degradation. Just deal with that fire mode. We'll put it to the bottom, trash the top. See if we can hopefully trash a Tamer potentially, or Spark. Use the next V instead. So Master's in a commanding position here. When situations when you have the Fanimon, you'd want to have like the Angel Woman normally, so you get that +1 check and you can start putting a lot of pressure on. But even this, just chipping away at once every turn. Still got 6 security. He's definitely looking ahead right now in the game. We'll see if the Imperial player can get something going himself. That's a start. If you see, if he draws into a Stingmon, you do see that Positron laser. Does require a blue Digimon on field to return something to the hand though, so card we haven't seen in a while, back since Rookie Rush, I believe, back in 1.5 BT4. So it was a menace back in the day. It's definitely been caught up to these days with stuff like Megadeth, but it does. Could just hard drop a Gato here if he wants to search after the swing. The Page one's already been used, so there's not a threat of it going to the bottom of the deck. He's just going to hard drop the Gato, reveal top 3. He does have a Black Gato and a Lucamon. He's playing very offensive right now, so he might take he does decide to take the Black Gatomon for that rush potential, so it's not bad. If opponent does check a Hellscythe here, he will be able to get potentially set up for lethal with that Black Gatomon next turn with the Jogress play. If you can somehow get that in trash with the Lady Devi. So he's going to swing away standard draw the egg. I'm surprised he's not using Mimi here first, just in case something happens to his Pyojimon. Definitely not getting his full value out of that. If he checked degradation there, he would have definitely been, pretty bad spot. Does decide to use the Mimi now. He did draw into the Megadeth, so he can deal with that Ophani, but that does just leave him vulnerable to a Mastemon play, which if he plays Lucamon will clear both the Pyojimon and that Tamer. I believe he does have a Spark and the Dragon mode, so he might be opting for that line instead. can always fight a mode to bounce the Gatomon to get rid of that Jogres potential next turn. You do see he is on the Wormmon, which is rather interesting. Don't see that too commonly. End of turn Jogres effect similar to Patamon and Salamon and Gatomon. Less impactful Jogres effects in the Imperial deck than say something like a Shakomon that can bounce, or obviously the Mastemon play, but it's still not bad. You can Dino Beta rest stuff to protect some damage, or Pyojimon if you need to, but does have two Megadeths. It'll be interesting to see if he decides to bounce the. He also has the Fireman. He could bounce the Gatomon instead of the Fanimon here, which I think would probably be the more optimal play, and he does decide to do that. Although the Fanimon is doing the chip damage, it's definitely less scary than if he ever gets a Mastemon play off here, so definitely a good decision, I think. It's put him to exactly 5 memory, so he can't do anything out of path playing a Gatomon, but so this is the case where Fanimon does get awkward because he is rather strong, but once it's on board, it's not doing too much. Just 1 damage each turn. He does have a defeat, so he can pop the Mimi, and he could just go Gato and Raisin and then choke him at 1 with the defeat, which is certainly not a bad play. I think he does want to swing here. He knows Fire Mode's the last security, so I found him on his 13k now, but it's the last security, so he should be okay. So you can potentially swing, defeat, and pop the Mimi, leave his opponent at 1. It would require Spark plus Fighter Mode to even attempt to out defeat with Chimeramon. So I think he's going to go for that play. He does check the Paladin mode, which pops the Ophanimon, which is actually exactly what Joe wanted, I'd imagine. He gets that Gatomon back, he gets the on play, and he can now go into a Jogress play. If he plays back a Lucemon, he can pop both the guys on board, or he can pop a Tamer on the XV. So you do see that one of Paladin mode though. Particularly, you do want it for matchups like this. It's pretty effective against the Mastemon deck. It does clear both a Lucemon and a Mastemon, and the only answer they really have to it is Chaos Degradation. So looks like he's probably going to set up that Lucemon play. We know he did get one off the. Lady Devi prior. He does discard the Black Gatomon as well, set up potential rough lethal letdown on the game. So he does recover. We do see a Jogress. I'd imagine he just clears the board here. Pops the Imperial, pops the XV. I don't think Mimi's too scary right now. I don't think you're worried about that. We do see a fairly stacked security. There's a Hell's Life and a Degradation in there. So Joe in the commander spot here. He knows what that last security is. He knows it's a fighter mode. Nothing too much to worry about. He's got 3 attacks next turn. I imagine he's just going to clear the board. So yeah. Does just clear both those bodies. And he's also 6 security back again. So it's looking in a fairly comfortable spot. He should take this game 1 very convincingly. Not much Joshua can really do. Even with the 6 memory. Does add the free search of VMons, so you can take any of these VMons, but so probably I'd imagine not what he was looking for. He does have the Positron Laser, which will stun 2 of these Digimon if he wants to play it, and they won't be able to attack next turn. That is a potential avenue, but the Jogress play is also there next turn as well. If he has a 1-cost yellow in hand, you can go into Mastemon and play the Black Gatomon or just Jogress for that extra attack as well. So he needs a Magna Angemon here. He's playing 2 Angemon as well, so there is targets for it. He did just top deck the Magna Angemon, so he can Jogress, play the Black Gatomon here. That should be guaranteed lethal. He knows his card in his opponent's security. He's deciding to Hell Scythe instead. I guess he's playing it safe, but he did have guaranteed lethal if he wanted it. Unless, I imagine he just didn't have the Mastemon actually, but that's very surprising. He's seen a lot of his deck, but just playing it safe. Yeah, cards like Positron got a little weaker with Jogos mechanic. You know, Blue Hybrid's still good, but Imperial does cause it a rough time. So the reason why it's not as popular as it was. Certainly has good matchups against Yellow and uh, stuff like Maste, but Joe, I imagine, still finishes that next turn. He has the Master back now, but don't think he's going to need it. Should be able to swing twice here. Knows his fighter mode. And he just swing. That's game one going to Joe. Pretty convincing. He had seven security still, and there was some few bombs in there as well. So if Imperial did get aggressive, he would have certainly got punished. I'm going to see you go second here, or for first or second for game two. I'd imagine you'd want the Mastemon player to go first. It is susceptible to bricking here, so it's not the most consistent deck. Definitely a no mulligan. He's playing three purple members to find that Gatomon early, but there's potential to just draw a bad hand of a bunch of options or level 5s. So if you can get a lot of memory as the Imperial play, if you go second, you can certainly do stuff with it. You can set up some Davis, you can set up XV and Raisin. So I think I'd opt to go second here as the Imperial player. We did see last game that the Mimi did not do as much as Davis would have done there. I think he definitely had a slow start because he had to he didn't play that Davis turn one to find a rookie instead, and he lost key cards in the Stingmon, the XV, and the Dragon mode. So see if that decision's going to come back to bite him in game two, or it's going to help him win the game. As that is the trade-off. You trade power for consistency. Like the Mimi has a higher ceiling, you can loop your Jam and Vmon rookies and things like that. So does play the Davis as well. I believe it might be on 2-2-2, but he is 2-2-2, yeah. So I'm gonna see at least 3-3 Davis and Ken, but he's on 2-2-2. Starts that Davis. Let's see, can grab both the Wormmon and the Pyodramon. You know he's got two XVs in hand, so if he can draw into a Stingmon, is a potential answer. With then the end of turn Jogress from Pyodramon could be relevant in this matchup. There's a lot of 6Ks on the Maste side. So we're just going to see a reinforce. It's a good start. Not what you wanted to see, but so certainly could have been a lot better cards. Probably might take the Salamon. Depends on all the Tapermon if he wants more cycling. I think you'd take the Salamon potentially, but he's already played the Wizardmon, so I think the Tapermon's the better choice. I do. That reinforce is good in Mastemon. Does help you push memory, so you can hard play a Gatomon and then go for a Jogress in the same turn. Very important. Do you see him just draw that Dragon most of he might have a full stack. I'm not sure if he does have another XV, so it's not Stingmon, but plays the Madoki for one. Excellent time to draw it. Does stop that reinforce from being able to be used. It is a it is a Wizardmon and not a Gatomon, so you can't evolve for level 5 for 3 here. It does just decide to evolve and raise into Angel Woman. It does have that Funimon, so if he can evolve it onto this Angelmon stack, he will be able to start going aggressive, doing 2 damage a turn with it. You do have an XV, so he could swing twice with Jam in here, but he has a Pyodramon and not his Chimeramon, so he wouldn't be able to Jogress. Can get a draw with the Vmon to potentially see a Stingmon or a Lydramon. If he does swing in, hits, finds a draws. He knows it's that Salamon off the reinforce, so doesn't seem to have too good a hand here. Seems to be missing that green piece for level 4s. There's the problem, he is only playing one Lydramon, so it's that and the Stingmon. So need 5 targets. Normally you'd see 3 Lydramon just so you can get this play off, but he's opting to go for Magnamon instead, and a Lobomon. Doesn't want to evolve on this Madoki either because he wants to be able to stop Joe from using the reinforced memory boost here. He does have a Fanimon in hand, so he could swing over the XVmon and clear the Madoki next turn with Fanimon if he needs to. He might just Pyodramon on top. He might just evolve Pyodramon on top of this XVmon. With free memory, there's not really a clean way to out it unless he uses a option like degradation, but he doesn't have a purple source right now, so he can't actually do that. Just going to set up another XVmon, it seems. So he can swing into the XV. He could clear the other XV or the Madoki if he wants to. Quite possibly, it depends how much he wants to cash in on this reinforce. Does opt to clear the XV. He's not too worried about the not being able to use the memory right now. He has the perfect Ophanimon stack. He has the Angel Woman, so he's going to be able to check two a turn. Put Imperial on a bit of a clock if he doesn't have a clean answer like Megadeth. Has drawn into another XV, so he could set that up and raise and potentially draw a Stingmon the next turn. I think he has drawn a Stingmon. There's that Positron laser again. Can't cast it right now because he doesn't have any green source. There's a Davison Ken in hand. He might just play that and pass turn at 3. There's no threat of a Jogos play next turn, so that will be safe for a turn. Does just do that. His opponent 3. Could just Health Scythe right now if he wanted to clear that Madoki. It wouldn't be the most efficient use of memory. He could play a Mem Boost and look for a Gato as well if he. Gonna swing for 2 checks here. The Angel Woman. If you have a yellow Digimon in, if you have a purple Digimon in play against Curie +1, he does because the Ophanimon is dual coloured. 8k and 2k. He is safe. Just looking for level 4 here. He does have the start date Lady Debbie and Magna Angemon in hand next turn. So if he found a level 4, could have done. It's set up for next turn. It's just another Maste instead. He's got 3 Mastes in hand, so definitely not what he wanted. Just going to play a Tapemon, potentially cycle one. This might just die to Pyodramon though, so I think it might be some wishful thinking playing that Tapemon, thinking he's going to stick around. That Positron is live and he can bounce the Ophanimon with it if he wanted to and stop the Taping from attacking from a turn. Do just see the Stingmon coming instead. He's got 6 in hand, so he will draw off the Vmon, off the Demi V. If we hit Hellscythe, he could be punishing here. Just a Magna. That is good though. He does have Health Scythe in hand, we do know that, so he'll be able to start using it efficiently with the Magna Angemon, which is the prime target for it. So just gonna jog us, tuck that Tapir to the bottom of the deck. We know he's revealed he has a degradation in hand, he just revealed one off the members, so he's only potentially one more in security. Swing, he will get that as 2 draws from the Stingmon from the Demi V. Hits into really strong, draws 3 cards. Does have the Imperial to end his turn on it if he wanted to. Problem is it can get crashed into by the Fanny. Oh no, he has the Davis and Ken for the restand, so it's also safe. So I think that's a brilliant play. Sets him up for next turn as well if he has another Jogress target. It's just the power of the Imperial deck. If he has a fighter mode, you need to answer the Imperial. You need to answer the 2 bodies as well. It's what makes the deck so threatening. So 5 memory lock behind members that he can't utilize because it's Madoki right now. This is the problem. You don't see the Gatomon. It's the key card of the deck. Slows you down so much. Not being able to evolve for 1. Not getting that end of turn Jogress effect. Might just hear Hail Scythe for a Magna here. Pop the Stingmon potentially. Just gonna try and dig one with the candle. See if he can get anything good. Just another Hail Scythe. Probably just discards a Mastemon here. Yeah. Do see a Megadeth incredibly punishing. No longer has access to Hail Scythe because he's lost his purple source. Stops to hard play Magna now. Madoki's putting in so much work in this matchup. Possibly should have cleared it earlier, but at the time the XV definitely seems the more threatening target, but it's only on the 1 Madoki and it's definitely justifying his slot in the deck right now. Does go to 6 on the Davidson Ken as well, so plenty of memory to work with. He can swing with the Imperial if it lives, he can go to fighter mode, he can restand with the Davidson Ken. It's 3 damage just from that alone, and there's still 3 more attacks potentially. We know Joe has 3 Hell Scythes in hand, so it's potentially just 1 in security. Certainly seeing the difference between having Gatomon and not having Gatomon between games 1 and 2. It's just such a powerful card. So I see lots of players choosing to max out on this purple memory boost, or at least play 3, especially with no mulligan. You have to find the Gatomon. Finally do find the Gatomon. Might be a bit too late though. Security net as well. He's going to Jogress the Dino B. Keep that Magna suspended. Could just opt to play slow, swing over it, and just play another body to pass turn. That is just what we're going to see. He's going to draw from the Sting. He still has 6 memory, so if he has the Dragon mode in hand, he will get the restand. He could potentially go into another Jogress stack. He does have a Mimi, so he could hard play the Mimi. use this effect to promote this VMon. Speeds him up another turn. We are just going to see the hard play Mimi for 4. And use that, bring that VMon up. He did have the Dragon mode in hand and a Pyojimon. Interesting, he didn't decide to go for that play instead. Just thinking about the Lydramon here. Just going to swing with the Armor Purge. Checks another Gato. And looks like he's just going to play Ice Wall to pass his opponent 1 memory. That should just be game. Madoki's going to stop him from extending at all. Too many swings next turn, I think. So should be game 2 going to Joshua here very shortly. Yep, scooped it up. So we're going to be going to a game 3. Imagine the Mastemon player is going to opt to go second. Certainly need that extra card, I think. We just didn't see the Gatomon game 2. It's just how it goes sometimes. They're shuffling up. Did see Mimi come down eventually there, but hasn't put in too much work in these past 2 games. Potentially an additional Davis and Ken could have been better, but see if it proves its worth this game. Just gonna cut. I'd imagine Mastemon choose to go second. See a much better hand this time from Joe. He has a Tapermon, he has a Gasamon, he has a Magna, he has an Ogremon BT6 as well on play, Trash 1, Popper level 4. We see quite possibly one of the worst hands I've ever, worst bricks you can probably have. That you might have to just hard drop the Pyojimon here. He's got opted to pass instead. See if he can draw into a rookie, but that was a Dragon mode, Fighter mode, Pyojimon, Ice Wall, and HPD, so he's going to need a miracle to get out of this one, I think, potentially. He's just hard played the Gatomon. Gives the opponent 2. He's just drawn into his second Pyodramon. This is certainly not what Joshua wants. I think you might just have to hope he doesn't have a Mastemon and play it. I think that's the only play he's really got. He's showing the stream, watching them suffer. He hasn't hatched an egg, so he can't actually play that Spark if he wanted to. I believe. I can't see the corner of the screen. Yeah, he hasn't, so. We don't have a Mastemon hand right now, but we do have a Lady Devi, so we will be able to dig for a few cards and that Tapermon as well. Just thinking about hard playing a fighter mode, and he does do it. To potentially safer the if he doesn't have a Lucamon, he can't actually clear it or a degradation. does just draw the Mastemon, but still no Lucemon. There might be one in security for him to play. He's gonna have enough memory to Jogwest and keep his turn. He could potentially just play another Gatomon if he wanted to. Get another search going. You might see that here instead of just hard playing the Magna Angemon. He's going to try and dig a couple more of the taper if it dies. Does die. She's going to get 2 draws from here. Does see a TK. Could play that to give him knowledge of security. If he has a Lucemon in there, it might just make his play a lot easier. He has 9, so he still has enough memory to play the Gatomon after if he needs to try and dig for it. But see what he trashes here. He opts to trash a Magna. He might end his turn with a Angel Woman to stop the fighter mode from being able to attack security. Fighter mode has no sources, so it cannot unsuspend or rest anything. Doesn't have a Lucemon in that security, but we do see 2 Flame Hellslives, so does decide to take another TK. Does hard drop a Gatomon for 5. Can add both the Creepy and the Mastemon. Can either decide to play the Angel Woman, he can decide to evolve the Angel Woman for 1 or hard play it if he wants to. But he's going to decide to go for a Tapermon instead. He's not threatening, he's not fearing that fire mode. It's just a vanilla right now. It doesn't have any effects. Finally draw a rookie. It's just a Madoki though, so got a feel for Joshua here. Just drawn into another Spark. The worst hand I think you could possibly draw on this deck. See what he decides to do. Swing security for hits a Magna Angemon. Still doesn't have a level 4. Does go for that double Spark. He's just going to hard play a Dino Beam on, I think, but or he opts for the Pyrogemon instead. Can just go for the Angemon for 1. Does Joe only crashes with the fighter mode, but I'm pretty sure you could ignore it for now. Gonna recover 1 from the Magna Angemon, pop the Pyrogemon with Mastemon effect. He does have the degradation if he wants to just clear this. Give his opponent 6. We've seen all 4 Pyrogemons now, I believe. I think the first 2 security were also Pyrogemon. Does have the XV, did finally draw into 1, but he did use the Dino B, and he did use the Pyrogemon instead of the Dino B last turn, so he only has access to Dino B right now, I believe. He can rest the Magna and swing over it, and then just turn on the Dragon mode, but even then, He does have HPD, so if he does go to Dino B, he can HPD Dragon Mode and potentially find a level 5 Jogress target with these draws here. Oh, he did find the Stingmon, so does decide to swing. Draw from does hit into a degradation, which puts that XP to the top of security. Nothing going right at all for Joshua this game. Certainly does happen though. Sometimes you just get some bad luck. Joshua's certainly having that right now. Let's just end this turn with a Davison Ken. We do see the looser one finally, but doesn't have enough memory to get into another. If he has a Gasamon, he could get this off. He does have a Gasamon, but there's no level 5 I think that he can evolve on top of the Gasamon right now. To Jogress. There's his XV. 2 checks. Could have swung Taper first to guarantee that draw. You know it was an XVmon, so he does have defeat. He can just pop the Tamer if he wants to. Just opts for Health Ice instead. He's going to play the Magna Entrimon, recover 1. Just 5 bodies on board. He's probably just going to clear it up next turn. Certainly unfortunate for Joshua, but certainly happens. Happens to everyone. Outs Outside of a level 5, Joe would have anything he needed to respond to here. But Joshua's thinking, but I don't think there's anything he can do that's going to affect the outcome of this game. We know there's another health life and security, so even if he eventually somehow got back in, that would punish him as well. Do you see Lucimon? The Mastemon still has +1 check, so he only needs 3 bodies here, so even 2 Mega Deaths would not be enough. That will be game. Jolie does take it. Mastemon beating Imperial there, battle of the starter decks. But certainly not the game 3 that Joshua wanted, especially as he was still undefeated, but tournament can be cruel in that regard. Sometimes it's just not your day. But that will be it for round 5. We'll be back shortly for round 6. Please do keep watching.